everybody, and welcome to David Christopher's with David and Jen, and we are popping in really quickly today with a couple of ideas that David has for our new drums. We have a set of 3. We have a small one, a medium-sized one, and a large one, and David is going to show us some ideas of what we can do with these big boys, right?
I think so. So last year, you may remember we had a drum that was smaller than these 3, and I actually used it as a tree stand for one of our trees. These guys would make great tree stands, but I'm going to show you a couple of different things that you can do with these apart from making them into a tree stand. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually make these stacked like they were when Jen and I first talked about them. And we're going to stack them up. But we also want to decorate them. So the easy way to do this, there's a couple of different ways you could, and I debated on adding styrofoam to them. But the easiest way to do it really is just to wrap garland, sorry, probably noisy, around the base of the biggest drum, or the top of the biggest drum. And that way we can actually use that. Make sure we get this re-centered here. And we'll just shape this garland up, and we'll do that on the next one. So this garland is 9 feet long, 10 inches wide, and I don't need it 9 feet long, so I'm going to cut right here. Just make sure that we get that all the way across. We don't have a big gap in that. And then we're going to stack our smaller one on top. But instead of stacking it where the top is showing, which you could do, we're actually going to use the top for an arrangement. So I'm going to fill that with styrofoam, and we're just going to go around the top with our garland, just like we did on the bottom piece. So now we just really need to shape our garland out so it's not so flat. We want it to look kind of lively and fresh, and it's also going to add some dimension to the drums, make them a little more three-dimensional and stick out a little bit further. We'll do that all the way around on the top piece and the bottom piece, and then we'll be ready to go. And we've got our garland pretty much shaped out, top and bottom. Now our top piece, as you can see, is empty inside. These make great planners, so if you're needing a Christmas planner, these are awesome, and that black and white really pops. So we're going to fill this with styrofoam, but before we do that, we're going to work on our garland. And we're going to be using some ribbon to start off with. This has a great red and green plaid with gold, metallic gold running through it, and then it's got this great black and white edge on the side, and kind of goes with our color scheme here. So we're just going to start on one side, and we're going to use our garland tips to tie that in. So we're just going to keep making some loops, good wired ribbon, and that nice edge on it really pops. And we're going to layer this kind of up inside. So you don't want this to go, you don't want it to go around, you know, just really boring. We want to go up kind of toward the top, back toward the bottom. You know, some can go toward the middle here. And mix this up so this one doesn't need to be the same, you know, shape as this one. This one can go more sideways. So we've got different angles going on with all of our loops here. We don't want to let this be boring at all. We want to keep it really interesting, a lot of movement in it. And we want to make sure that we cover some on the top, the middle, and the bottom all as we go around, so that it's not just one like loop after another in the same area. And we'll keep going around. I'll get the bottom done, and then I'll do the top, and we'll convene back to do add the rest of the things. So we have an ornament assortment of some gold sequin balls. These are glamorous gold beaded sequin balls. Beautifully black felt finial with dots. We have our black and white checkered balls, and we have our red Mercury balls. Now the Mercury balls, we have two different versions this year. This is a new one we decided to try with a new factory, and I really love these. And one of the reasons I really love these is because if you're familiar with a lot of the Mercury balls we've had in the past, they're a hard transparent plastic. This is actually a soft transparent plastic, and you can push these in and they don't break. So even though Mercury is technically shatterproof plastic, most of the other ones still break. These I haven't seen break yet. I haven't been able to break one, and I've tried lots of things to get them to break. So if you're looking for Mercury ornaments, we have these from 4-inch to I think 12-inch in lots of colors. So this is a good one. Forgot to turn my phone off. Now I'm going to show you a little section that we'll use, and we're really just going to layer these up and use the strings from the ornaments themselves with the garland. So we can add some below, add some above. We want to go in between most of our ribbon here, but I'll do a little section to show you, and then I'll finish this up and show you what it looks like all put together. And we're really just winding that string around on the ornament to make it tight. And okay to use lots of black and white and lots of red and gold in this, because we're working with a lot of those colors. So don't be afraid to add a little bit more. But we really just want to fill all the green space up as much as possible with some of our balls. So now we've finished our garland around our drums, and we've got this empty space in the top of the drums. It would be a good place if you had like a 4-foot tree, might be a good place for that. But we're just going to round this out with some more ornaments and make that work. To do that, we're going to need some styrofoam down in our drum. So we're going to use these spray bars and stack those up till we get to the top. I'll spare you the boredom. So now that we've got our styrofoam filled just about this short of the top, we're going to add some pine branches, because we're not going around this one, but we want to kind of mimic the idea we've got going on so far. So we're just going to kind of build round arrangement on top. Once you've got most of the styrofoam hidden and a good round space up here with some of the pine, I think you're good to go. I do love these new Mercury balls because they are so shatterproof. It's amazing. That's just a fun thing to me. We used to have to worry about how we shipped them and things like that. Even though they're plastic, they're shatterproof, they still have the ability to kind of crack. They won't shatter like glass, but they do crack. So I am excited about the almost unbreakable version. That's probably not as overwhelming for everybody else as it is for me. So we're going to put a couple of our larger balls in there, and we're going to fill in around them with some of our smaller ones. Actually, I have the smaller size, the medium is the 5.5 inch, 6 inch. And we just want this to hang over the edge of the top just a little bit. Not too much, not too little. Got a nice red base on top. Because we've got so much black and white everywhere else, I'm filling more red, and then I'll fill in the other colors, because our drums are so much black and white. I think we need a little more red going on, as well as some gold. So now I'm going to tie a bow, and I'm going to tie it with really wide loops, because I'm going to wire it to the center and hope that the loops stick out just enough. So we're just going to start really loose and do maybe 4. And I don't really need any tails coming out of this one, so I'm just going to tie that off. Found scissors. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky, trying to make sure you still have some foliage to tie something to. Just move our bow around a little bit, and I'm going to stick a couple more bows in there and we'll be pretty much done. So I think we're pretty much finished. Might have added a couple of more red and black and white balls to the top, but I ran out, so I didn't have to go to the warehouse and get any more. But like I said, we've got so much black and white going on already that the top can be a little bit more with the red and gold, because we've got black and white in our ribbon, black and white in our finials, and tons of black and white in our drums. But this is just one idea of some things you can do. And you can look at last year's video of how I stuffed a tree in one of our drums. That was actually a smaller one, so I know the big ones would be even better for that kind of thing. Or you could use them as a planter, or just as a riser if you wanted to pick some things up off the ground, like you had a smaller nutcracker, like a 36-inch nutcracker, and you wanted something around that. You put a wreath on the base and put a nutcracker in it.